Oh, shouldn't have said that on camera.
Gotta go darker.
But 1 second. You weren't recording, were you? So aren't we just flavoring our whole life with flavors and the most important thing, though. There's a cockroach. Huh? Maybe it's a code error.
You got it?
I will try my best. Phil or Philip?
You can do what you want.
Got it. All right, we're ready? Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of And Oskar Goes To. In this episode, I'm going to be interviewing Philipp Fock, and I'm super excited. So let's get into it. If you want more videos like this, remember to like and subscribe. Hi Philip, what is your profession?
I'm a software developer.
Software developer? And what does it mean to be a software developer?
So you sit down a lot of the day and you actually write code and you hope it to do something that other people can use. So you have like apps on your phone and they are programmed and those are people sitting and developing them.
It's like a hacking thing? It's like hackers?
Hacking is like a discipline inside software development. But in hacking you mostly run scripts. So it's not you actually developing the hack, it's more like you run scripts that someone else already developed.
Oh,
and
okay.
You try to look for weaknesses in systems.
Okay, got it.
Because they're like common ones.
Okay, so since you are a software developer, does that mean that you just work from home?
I work from home, but I like to work in an office because it just keeps you more focused. You know, you're around people. So I have my own like company, and I work with a bunch of friends as well. So I really like it to be in the office because it's also, I think, a social setting, and it helps you like keep focused and stuff like.
Is that why just like going to school other than homeschool is better than?
I think it depends on the people. Like some people like to work from home.
Yeah.
But for me, I just like it to be a social activity as well. Like obviously you need to be focused and you're on your own, but then in between you can chit chat and stuff.
Yeah. So tell me a little more about yourself. I know that you live in Europe, in Austria.
Yes.
So how does being a software developer different in the US than in Austria?
Good question. I'm not 100% sure because I don't have the comparison living in the USA. But what I would expect is like just Austria is a small country. Mm-hmm. So you have like 8 million people there. The US has like...
Only 8 million?
Yeah, it's a small country. You have 300 million people, I think, in the US right now. So it's a bit smaller. So there's like way less people overall and way less developers. So the ecosystem of tech companies is also smaller. Mm-hmm. And obviously in the US you have Silicon Valley, where like innovation is being made. So I live in Vienna, which is like a city with 2 million people, so not too small, but the ecosystem is just smaller and like the generation of startups that is there is just like there are way less startups. And so there's like also a smaller ecosystem of investors and all these tech startups because it's about investing a lot of money into your growth. There's way less investors to find, like in the US, there's a lot of the big VC firms are all in the US.
Of course, yeah.
And you have a way more niche target market, right? So a lot of the companies that start in Austria focus on Austria and then they go to Germany, which is like 80 million people. But in the US, it's just you have a way bigger market with your own language. Because if you want to scale them from Austria to Germany, then you need to switch languages. In the US, you have like a market.
Yeah.
Your local market is 300 million people.
So technology is the world. Do you feel like you're making the world a better place?
Good question. I mean, it's very good. We try. Like obviously, what I want to do next is my next goal is developing a system that makes bookkeeping in Austria way easier with AI. So I think this is from the outside and also my own experience, it's a very boring process.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't like it, and we just want to make it very easy. And I think this should make the world a better place. But at the same time, it's a tricky question, right? Because like there will be people losing their jobs, but maybe they'll find a better job that's less boring.
Yeah.
So that's what I hope, that people can do more creative things and people do the things that they like instead of like having those boring jobs like being a bookkeeper.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of AI,
yes.
How do you think like software developing in AI can change a person positively or negatively? Like for example, if my mom, for example, would want to get a college degree, when there wasn't a lot of technology, she would have to like go to school, study harder. For example, like she would actually have to travel like to wherever her college or university is.
Yeah.
And like if she just wanted to get a degree now, which she already has, but she could just go online, you know, and boom, done. So how do you think it changes?
You would still need to apply, right, to a degree. Like there's still like processes, but more is online. But yeah, a lot of things change with AI. Like I already use a lot of AI. Do you use ChatGPT?
Actually, yes, and more on ChatGPT later. A little surprise about that. But like you said, you use AI. Does that help you positively?
Yeah, definitely. Like there's, you know, like when you write code, you write line by line. Mm-hmm. So there's like tools that suggest like what you want to write, which is pretty cool because it helps you like in one day write more code. And this is pretty cool. But sometimes like I think the more advanced software development becomes, it's more about zooming out and designing the overall way where the software goes. For example, like let's say you have a system to manage like how these plants are like need to be watered.
Yeah.
And you want to monitor that. You would, for example, just think of the overall system, like who would use it, how would they access it, how can you control that, and this like user experience things, like how does the user experience the software. You'd think more about that than the single lines of code, and yeah, I can write those single lines of code to implement the logic to handle things.
And why would people use code? Like how does code like help?
For example,
like,
have you ever booked a taxi? Why? You use Duolingo, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so what Duolingo does is basically you get different tasks and like you accomplish things, you don't accomplish other things, and they use an algorithm to optimize, okay, which questions do you get again? Because these words you didn't learn, and usually in school, right, it's not as personalized for you because you're all getting the same things. But in Duolingo, it's very personalized because you get things that last time you did it wrong, this time they're showing it to you again. So this is basically software.
So let me get this straight.
Yeah.
Code controls algorithms.
Code controls what you see on your phone. Code controls how in the back end, so on the back end, like what is shown to you. And so that's the algorithm basically.
Okay, got it. So with coding, it's like based on zeros and ones, right? Am I correct?
That's the complete basics, yeah.
What's your favorite number, 0 or 1?
42.
42? I don't get it.
No, there's like 0 and 1. It's just like if you stick them together, like for example, you have 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. And you have like, it can be 8 combinations. So 0, 0, 0, 0, like 4 digits is like 0. But if you have 1, 1, 1, 1, it's like 8. I think, or 7, yeah.
Can you translate code?
The thing is, you don't write code in zeros and ones. Like you have abstraction layers, so you write code.
Really? But could you? Like simple, like...
I think I couldn't write the whole program in 0 and 1.
No, like just like a little thing.
I can translate 0 and 1s to numbers.
Oh yeah, what is 0, 0, 0, 0, 1?
It's 1. If you have 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, it's 1.
So what do zeros do if they're just zeros?
Yeah, they're just zeros if you need to have a 1 somewhere.
Does the 1 support the 0 and the 0 and the 1 and the...
like,
Whoa!
You know what electrical circuits are?
Electric what?
Like electric, right? You have like 0 or 5 volts. I think it's maybe different a little bit in the US. And you have that in a board as well. And the 0 or 1 is just this electrical signal if it's off or on. That's how you store things, for example, as well.
Yeah, here's a...
But that's very detailed, right? Like it's not the things that I'm concerned with on a daily basis.
Walk me step by step through your daily routine. I don't mean like what you eat or like go to shower, just like the basic.
Of working.
Main goals.
Yeah. Well, how I work daily.
Yeah, exactly.
So actually, like what we do is we have our code bases and it runs, and there's different ways to monitor it. So obviously, in software development, it's always a lot about like, okay, what's going wrong? Are there any issues that we need to fix? It's first of all, like we just fix these issues. We have like engineers that fix issues, and then we have just like, for example, now let's say Duolingo. Let's take that as an example again. If we want to develop a new feature, let's imagine there's no leaderboard, there's no divisions.
Yeah.
So now the Duolingo team is planning on developing the division system. So so everyone can like earn points based on how much points they earn. They are like in somewhere different on the leaderboard. So you can score first if you have the most points, and after the division ends every week you can level up. So that's
what a lot of like apps and websites do. They make you reach goals that don't really matter things, and then you're happy.
You plan about
I'm their victim.
Yeah, you just give them. That's another topic, right? You like think about things on how to keep your users active in those apps.
Yeah.
So that's what Duolingo does.
Second place in the gold division.
There you go.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So you level up if you're like second place.
Yeah.
And so that's how what a software developer. So for example, we have an architect, software architect, that plans out, okay, what do we need to develop? How does our current system look like? And what do we need to develop in order to make this feature? For example, you have a user and you track his activity and you let him earn those XPs, like points.
Yeah.
And so a software developer would then go into the system and develop this, how you earn the points, where are they stored, and then they need to be retrieved and shown. And then there's this other guy that basically needs to group together people in divisions, and then you have a leaderboard there based on the points. Yeah, that's how those things work. And you plan those features out, so then you have a roadmap of features that you want to develop over time to make your system better. Yeah. I think that's the beauty of it, because you're like, you start from nothing. Like it's a little bit of a craft, I would say, because in the beginning there has been no Duolingo. So you can just create it, you can develop it. So you create something out of nothing with software development. I mean, it's all virtual, but for example, all your favorite games, for example, I don't know if you play any, you told me you play Madden, right?
Yeah, Madden.
Yeah, so Madden is another game that's just developed, and it has all the physics developed in. So there are people, the software developers work with the physicists on, okay, how does the ball fly? When you shoot from there, does it go in? How do you need to tilt the controller and stuff like that? That all needs to be developed in.
So, technically what you're saying, video games are pointless and people shouldn't spend their time doing them?
That's another conclusion, but there's like people earning a lot of money with esports, right?
Yeah.
So it's the same, you could say sports are useless, but there's like a lot of people
except
money.
People that play them, then they make a lot of money.
Right. but also it keeps you healthy. I mean, it's different for esports.
Yeah, true,
But,
true. And you work a lot with technology, so like, do you hate it when the internet works slow?
Depends on what I'm doing. So
Just work.
Yeah, for coding, I don't need to download anything, but sometimes, for example...
You don't?
Sometimes, right, there's like resources that you need to download, or for example, if you train an AI model or you fine-tune one, you need to download what's been there already, and there it's nice to have good internet speed. But for developing like a new feature or something where it's just in the code basis, the internet speed doesn't matter too much. Yeah, because you just have everything locally on your computer, right? Like for example, do you know when you can play apps that are offline?
Yeah, like there's some apps that you can play.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the same with the code bases. So it's already offline.
Yeah.
And then you can just do things in there and you don't need to download anything.
So most importantly,
there we go.
You made NFT, right? And
yeah, we created NFTs, yes.
So what is an NFT?
It's just a digital token on the blockchain with an image attached to it. Yes.
So like kind of like art.
Yeah, you could use
Digital
it for
art.
digital art ownership. For example, because the thing is it's on the blockchain, so you exactly know who owns it. Because there's like, how should I say it? There's a proof that you own it and only you can transfer it because it's recorded on the blockchain. And so it's like, for the first time you can actually digitally own this art and only you own it.
That's cool.
So yeah. So for example, it could be cool for, like I know some artists that actually created the NFTs for their
like
music.
Their own?
Yeah, they created like music NFTs. They sold it, and what they did is like everyone that owns their music NFT is like getting a profit share when it's published.
Yeah.
So you can invest into
do that.
Do you know Metro Boomin?
Yes.
Yeah, he did that.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah. No, just chocolate.
Oh. Well, chocolate is a flavor, right?
It's a flavor as well, but there's also chocolate bars.
Yeah, well, like if you think about it, chocolate bars are the flavor of the chocolate bars. So like if you're thinking about a strawberry chocolate bars, aren't you just saying flavor bars? It's like it's a double flavor. Why do you need double flavors? Why does economy do that? Like why does everyone, this is why we had the Great Depression. So you as a tech guy, what do you not like about your job?
I think like one thing is you need to sit a lot inside and code. So some people can just be like, I don't know, if you're a salesman or if you're just a manager, you can just like go somewhere, have a call on the way and get your work done maybe while you're driving a car. But when you're a software developer, you really need to sit down, focus on that, and you need to think it out about the logic. And that's obviously cool because it's almost like when you produce music, you also need to sit inside, right?
Yeah.
And it's like you're really focused and you shut down all social media, no distractions, and you become into this like mode of flow, this flow mode.
Yeah.
And I experienced that too, which is really cool. But at the same time, sometimes you just, want to walk around, drive somewhere, and then you can't get your work done as easily as others.
So like I imagine your back feels like terrible at the end of the day.
No, it's fine.
It's fine, but like you gotta have a good posture.
I have a standing desk.
You do?
Yeah.
How does that work?
You buy it and you press the button up and it goes up, and then when you press it down, it goes down.
Whoa, that's cool.
Yeah.
So like to have a good posture, like this is like, for example, this is a pretty bad posture. Actually,
this chair is terrible.
People don't realize this is a bad posture. What you need for a good posture is like this.
Yeah. I would recommend this like on a daily, like not enough people do this.
Like not enough people realize and then like you get older and you walk around like this, and it's like.
It's perfect. It's like you lean forward and you don't need to make so many steps because you're already like falling down almost to the ground, right? You don't need
and then you fall asleep on your computer and you end up pressing a key and it codes for hours and hours, and you realize you've created a masterpiece, and then film. Okay.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's exactly how you do it. But what about the love? What do you love about your job?
What do I love about my job? Good question. I need to think about it. I think like what I said before, that right, you can create something from nothing. So you like
something from nothing.
You go into you can look at people's lives. You go, for example, okay, what does an accountant do? What does a bookkeeper do? What does a lawyer do? And you can make their lives easier with software.
Yeah.
So for example, I know lawyers spend a lot of time researching the law. And there's a lot of data out there. There's all these different law cases. So for example, you could write an AI system that actually
that generates files.
That takes in just a natural language, just a question about something in the law, some specific case, and you search your database and you map it together and show all the relevant cases for this language.
So do you think AI will take over the world soon?
I'm not sure. Like, that's always a good question. It's a real threat. It can happen. But I'm not sure if it will be like we imagine. But there's systems out there, like, how should I say it? There's systems out there that become rapidly more advanced and more intelligent. So there's a real possibility that when we develop robots, that it can do a lot of things for us. And then the question is like, when do this thing like take over? When is it becoming smarter than us? There's a lot of research going into that, and also there's, I think, some of the smartest people in the world are trying to align these systems with what we want as a human species, and I think that's a big problem, to really align those soon super intelligent systems with our needs.
Yeah.
Because like we don't really care so much about what ants are doing. So should a super intelligent system care about humans? So you would need to align it with what we want to do, right? Because it could just ignore us and go their own way.
Yeah, I get that. And like you said, you're a software developer. Do you need a certain kind of education for it, or like can you just tell me like, oh, Oskar, here, I'm gonna teach you this. You press a few keys, some numbers, and like you do it, and then like in a few weeks I just to type, or like do like doctors, like to become a doctor you need about 10 years of college, or like.
You can start coding very easily. There are like coding camps that get you started in 6 weeks, and then you can become, like, you can start software development.
6 weeks,
but
that's crazy.
Like, different like levels to it. So there's still people going into university for computer science because you learn all the math and all the physics behind it, and that's obviously also very needed to develop the systems further.
I have a pretty interesting question for you. I watched this movie about a year ago. I don't remember what it's called. It was like with Ryan Reynolds, I think. And like what it was about, it was like a person made like a video game by coding, of course. And there was like a character inside of there who thought like this is their real world. Okay. Like this is like, so is that possible? And in that case, how? Like we're like not like almost like an artificial intelligence thinks they're alive, and they're like, and then they find out like, oh my god, I'm like, this is just a video game. I was made from codes. Like, how is that possible?
I mean, if you look back at what have been games 40 years ago, where it was like all very pixelated, very bad, and now you play, I know, Call of Duty or like something that's super realistic. Or have you tried the Apple Vision Pro?
I've tried them one time. They're super cool. Yeah,
and so like it becomes more and more, it feels like the real world. If you look 40 years back, nobody could have imagined that we have something that's such of high resolution that it looks almost like the real world. So we're getting closer to that, what everyone says is we're living in a simulation.
What is your craziest working experience ever?
So once when we 2 years back, we've been developing protocols on the blockchain, so crypto protocols. And there was one protocol, it was like, I was sleeping, was going to bed, regular day, sleeping, going to bed. And suddenly, back then I was living with my coworkers. So we had like big apartment and we just lived there and also worked there and had like a little office in there. Like my roommate, not roommate, but like flatmate was rushing into my room and damn man, we got hacked. So the protocol was hacked. So the incident was happening, probably the hackers didn't know that we are from Europe because we publicly also said that we're from Europe. So they did it purposely in our nighttime at 3 a.m. our time. So he woke me up at 5 a.m. We're just rushing to the office and we're like, damn, what happened here? So we looked at it. There was an incident. Everyone said we have been hacked, and we didn't know exactly what was hacked. Like funds have been stolen. So we looked into that, and turned out we actually our protocol didn't get hacked, but we had a Discord server that was hacked. So then,
what does that mean?
Usually, for example, there's a protocol and you have an issue in your code, and someone exploits the protocol and takes all the funds that people have deposited into this protocol. But in our case, not our protocol was hacked, but there was, for example, so we had this NFT that we talked about, right?
Yes.
There was, our Discord server was hacked, where we published all information, and one of our head moderators in the Discord has been hacked, and he banned almost all of our good purpose users and just published an announcement, hey, we're doing this new NFT collection and it's only available now and buy it now. So there's people that actually believed that we're launching this right now, though there was no information. So people just bought it, and then the hacker was getting 60, 70K dollars out of that.
Oh my.
So what we did is, in order to
how'd you resolve
rescue
it?
Yeah, what we did is actually we just looked at the logs on the blockchain, who sent money to the hacker, and we wanted to save our reputation, right? Because if your Discord server is hacked, even though we haven't been hacked as the admins, one of our moderators, one of the guy that's just trying to check if everything's all right, has been hacked and published this announcement. Our reputation was a little bit damaged. So what we did is we looked at who sent funds there. We refunded everyone from our own money, and yeah, that's how we saved our reputation. But it was a crazy day.
Well, I actually have a surprise for you about ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to provide us some questions for you. So let's see what ChatGPT wrote. So got the first question from software development to NFTs. As someone with a strong background in software development and AI, what inspired you to create the NFT project, and how do you wow, ChatGPT has very good grammar. I don't know how to read half of these words. Integrate your technical skills into the creative process of designing NFTs.
Good question, ChatGPT.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. I think we just had this idea. I had an artist as well as a friend, Anne.
Yes.
And we wanted to create those, and so there's not so much complexity in actually creating the NFTs because there's already things out there. The only thing, I think the tricky part is about in what we did is a generative NFT collection. So you have, the artist needs to design different traits. So she designed 150 traits, and then you need to layer them to get the final results of the actual image that it results in. So you need to make sure that all the traits So for example, you have like a hat or glasses, you need to make sure that it's layered right so that the glasses are beneath the cap or something. Yeah,
okay, got it. Our second question from ChatGPT, it's about future of AI and Web3. Considering your expertise in both AI and NFTs, how do you see the intersection of these technologies shaping the future of the digital economy? And what potential do you believe AI holds for enhancing the user experience within blockchain and NFT marketplaces? Wow.
I think what we already see is we do see a lot of AI assistants, right? Mm-hmm. So what you do right now with ChatGPT is it's like a little bit like your assistant, like you give him, okay, can you give me questions? In the same way, there's a lot of blockchain right now used for, I know, financial markets, and right now the user experience is not the best, but what if you interact with it through an AI assistant? Maybe it makes it easier to be like, okay, I want to buy this coin, ChatGPT or the AI assistant that you use, let me buy this coin. Or, for example, there are like protocols where you can earn yield. Like just when you put money into the bank, you can earn interest, and they do different things with your money in order to earn you interest. You could just have someone say, yeah, let me look through all the protocols that are there that help me earn interest. And maybe a lot of people don't understand right now how those protocols work, because it's all created by tech people, and I think they have their own language, so it's hard for people to understand. So AI could help with letting people understand how those things work, for example.
I want to say I got it, but I don't got it. But thank you. Now, next question's coming from me.
That's better.
Yeah. Like, if you could have any job in the world, what would it be?
I could be a writer for Rick and Morty.
A writer for Rick and Morty?
That could be fun, I think.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. A writer for Rick and Morty. You'd make like the craziest scripts ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you'd do good in it.
I would try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's fun because you have endless opportunities to make a script, and the weirder the better, right?
The weirder the better for Rick and Morty, yes. Yeah. So can you give me a quick lesson, like for example, about coding? Like what could you teach me?
Let's do that. I can give you the first coding lesson.
Nice.
Yeah. So here we have a simple web app that's actually...
That's me.
Yeah, that's your name. So what we have here is just like a text that's keeping the state of like what's displayed. So this is like, hey Oskar. And now please click on it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so what we did here is like, this is like an abstraction level, so it's not zeros and ones, but we define here, if you click on the text, we change it. And here you see we change this variable with set text display to, hey Oskar, how are you doing? That's how you're switching it. That's
really cool, like on a presentation.
Yeah, and for example, you could now change, for example, that text to whatever you want. So this is the text, you can just type something in if you want. Yeah, like this. And then if we reload the app, just saying, hey Oskar, and if you click on it, it's this. Yeah. You can also do it like this.
No.
You need to say it.
All right.
Okay, let's read it.
All right, let me do it. Hey, Oskar.
Okay, yeah. So this is like a simple, but you can do anything with this. You can define.
That's so cool.
For example, I could define now a button, and this button says like, click me. And then we could also do it to define, to change the text when you click on the button.
Whoa! That's so cool.
So that's how you define these web pages. So if you now reload, play Hey Oskar, now you click on the button.
What?
So, yes.
if you could give any advice to my audience who maybe want to like code something, what would it be?
What they should code?
Like, sure, but like an
should,
advice, just like a tip.
I think they should start somewhere. And like coding is a lot about the practice of doing it. So a lot of people go into the documentation and see how coding works, but you actually should code something to learn it better.
So like more coding develops your coding, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Like try to develop a game, and then the parts that are missing, figure out how can I do certain things, and then just look that up instead of like looking through docs and trying to remember everything. Like in math, like when you try something and you don't know how it works, you then look it up after you don't know how to do it. That's the same in coding. You try something, you work on it, and then maybe afterwards you explore how to do it better.
Yeah.
So it's a lot about practice of theory.
Thank you so much. It was very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's go.
All right. That was a super fun interview. And remember, if you have any suggestions for me on who to interview, or like if you want me to even interview you can comment on that. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time on And Oskar Goes To.